All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everyone.
And we also got Daniel from American
Hello.
Jobs Factory. Daniel, what's going on, my man?
It's me. I made it. Yes. Excited to be here.
Excited to be here. Awesome. So we're actually going to dive right in. We wanted to interview a little bit with Daniel because Daniel is about as dedicated as it gets. If Andrew Yang were the Grateful Dead, you'd be like the biggest deadhead groupie known to man.
Exactly.
He also has a special place in our heart here at Problem Solver Politics because he was the first one to recognize us in a crowd. Cody, do you remember this?
No, of course, yeah. Of course I remember that. It was at the Andrew Yang rally, the 22nd of April, right? I think April 22nd. Yeah, we're walking
LA
around.
Rally.
Yeah.
Whenever that was.
Yeah, and then I heard someone say, Cody the Oracle. I turn around and I'm like, oh, what's up, dude? Because we
I
spoke a
still
little
didn't
bit
know
on
Cardin's
Instagram.
name yet.
Exactly.
Just
Don't worry,
remember
no one
Cody.
ever knows Cardin's name. Even people who watch the show all the time, he gets Corbin, Cardone, all the stuff. So
Carson,
no one knows.
Gordon, Carmen, Carter,
Carson.
Cardigan.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Carson. I like
And
Carson.
I was thinking you looked more like the guy from Stranger Things, the police officer.
Daniel Hopper. Yes.
Daniel Hopper, yeah.
Yeah, I get that one a lot too. So, all right, let's just dive right in here. We were intrigued when we first met Daniel because basically, if I understand this correctly, you believe so much in UBI and Andrew Yang that you quit your job in order to, I don't want to say follow Andrew Yang around because you're not a dog, but I mean, just like dedicate yourself full time to the cause. Is that correct?
So it's more complicated than that.
Okay.
But I'll break it down for you, I guess.
Andrew Yang owes you money and you're following around until
Yes.
you get it.
Yes. He owes me $1,000 a month. Exactly. So last year I started a nonprofit called American Jobs Factory.
Cool.
And so I hadn't heard of Andrew, of course. And so one of the big problems that I wanted to address, or I'm addressing with my nonprofit, is automation.
Okay.
Because nobody's talking about it. And
Intriguing. Okay.
And so I feel like the work needs to change, or the how we do work needs to change. And
Okay.
And so that was the premise of my nonprofit, and the nature of work needs to change. So then I created this nonprofit, and I'm like, ta-da! No one cares because.
Yeah.
I created something. No one cares. I don't have a following on, anything. And so, I'm like, how do I bring awareness to my nonprofit? And then I found Andrew Yang. He's the only one talking about automation, which is like the number one, robots are like a number one issue according to.
Well, the Oxford report says 47% of jobs are at risk
Oxford
of.
report.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the Oxford report says 47% of jobs are at risk of automation. I mean, that's a solid half. That's within the margin of error on any scientific poll of literally one half. So, okay, so you decide I'm going to follow this guy around and dedicate more time and energy to him?
Yes, and I was like, I'm an entrepreneurial kind of guy, so I'm running my business, but I'm like, he's the guy. I mean, if you can go back and look at my first video for Andrew Yang, and basically it is like, this guy's on fire.
Yeah.
if he doesn't become president, that video at the very beginning, I'm like, if he doesn't become president, then he's going to come really close because he's on fire.
All right, this is epic. I totally love your channel because, first off, you're kind of one of the original YangGang gangsters.
Been posting for a while.
You know, we going to watch this or are we going to talk over it, Cody?
I think you're talking about me. I just have
Okay.
playing in the background. Yeah, it's really
And
fun.
the other thing I love about it is it's hilarious. You will literally just go, and I've subscribed to your channel for a long time, and you'll just be in a mall somewhere in the Midwest. Just some random person, you'll just be like, oh, hey, do you know about Andrew Yang? No, I don't. Well, here, I need to record you and me talking about it. Then
Exactly.
you'll just be evangelizing. Dude, if you were Mormon, you'd be a missionary, dog. You know what I'm saying? You'd be a missionary, man.
Well, before this, I have witnessed to people as a Christian, so
Rock on.
I'm
So-
not official
So he's
like the Mormons, but I do evangelism sometimes.
Can we get you a Yang
Oh,
Gang
that's a really good-
tag?
that's a really good
A
point,
black
though.
Yang Gang pocket tag, you know?
Sure, I take all swag. I love
right.
swag.
All right, that's funny, man. So then I guess what's your goal now? I mean, you are dedicated to this. You just tell the audience, those of you guys that don't know him, you've literally been wherever Andrew Yang goes, you go, and you're at all these events, and you're posting things that most people can't see. Like, I like that you post what happens in these big $500 a plate dinners that many of us can't just afford to go to, and you'll be able to say, hey, here's the Q&A of all the people in North Carolina and the 12 questions they asked and the 12 questions that he answered.
Yeah, I like to. The way that I was thinking of the channel is behind the scenes. I want people get a real feel of what it's like to be there, not just like to be the fly on the wall. So I'm, doing behind the scenes of people who are at the events. I'm trying to get their take on how it went and things like that. And I was just in South Carolina, and the people that I interviewed were the people that ran the Democratic Party at the little hole in the ground event. And so I got their, background. And those videos don't perform as well, but I don't care, because I feel like that's, what I want to see, and that's what I'm providing for everybody else. Because
that's great. Now, as somebody, I mean, how often do you say you see Andrew Yang?
So I can't follow him everywhere. I've tried, but but I get tired too, and I try to pick out events, and especially hearing the same speech over and over again. I love him, but it does get
Well, I was going
tired.
to ask you, what is something, as kind of like an insider, right?
Right.
What is something that you think you've been privy to and seen that the rest of us haven't seen that you wish the world knew about? Is there anything you can think of?
Well, he's just a humble, nice guy. I mean, the first time I met Andrew, he's like, give me a hug. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll give you a hug. Awesome. And he was excited because I told him what I did. And he's like, we have a lot in common. And I'm like, yeah, I know, that's why I'm following you. But yeah, it's just cool. And his team is really awesome too. It's like, I got to meet Zach, of course. And
Zach looks like he could be like the liquid Terminator
Yes.
from Terminator 2's
Yes.
like younger brother.
Yes.
And it's kind of funny because he does watch Andrew like a hawk. Like, we first met Andrew when we were doing a radio interview. And it's funny because he's like, you would talk to Yang, okay. And then he sits there looming over Andrew Yang's shoulders. Just like, it's pretty hilarious. So that's good to hear. So you'd say that the coolness is authentic. Is there anything you think that you wish you could show, that if people would just know more of this, they would be more attracted to the Yang candidacy?
No, I mean, he is what you see, so he's pretty authentic. Like, they're playing the long game. They just feel like the more people find out about Andrew Yang, the bigger he'll get, I think my focus now that I've filmed him quite a few times, I'm going to still do that, but I feel like now I have to go out. I'm trying to be the road warrior, and I feel like I need to go out and find famous people to interview, because I don't feel like the general public cares until a famous person tells them to care. So until to get him
#truth, #this is America. We don't care until a famous person tells us to care.
Right.
Could you get the Kardashians?
I don't know. I'm going to literally show up at people's doors, I think, and see what I can do. I think Elon Musk is on my radar. I think Casey Neistat is on my radar.
Okay.
Those are kind of people that I have in mind.
Watch out, Elon and Casey. You got the biggest groupie of Andrew Yang. You're in their crosshairs, man. You're in his crosshairs. Okay.
Well, also someone else who I think would be interesting, maybe. I'm trying to see if I can find the tweets. But there's a guy, former NFL player, and he's currently a host on a show on Fox Sports. Marcellus Wiley. I'm trying to find the tweets. He's a big YangGang guy too as well. YangGang guy. So I'm always trying to...
So Marcellus Wiley.
Yeah, I'm trying to get someone to get him down on the record on video, not just tweeting stuff out, but actually saying on video somewhere that he's a YangGang guy. I think that'd be fun. I'm looking around to find a tweet. I'll see if I can pull the tweet up. But that's another interesting person up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, of course, Nicolas Cage. Right?
So you were attracted to Andrew Yang because of substance first, before you met him, because you shared this mutual history of, hey, automation is coming. One of my favorite memes of Andrew Yang is his face superimposed on top of Paul Revere holding up the lantern, saying that robots are coming, are coming.
I met the Boston YangGang, and a guy there developed that shirt, and I think that's one of the best shirts there. So
you started out purely from, I want to start a 501c3 that's raising awareness about automation and preparing the world for the robot apocalypse. Okay, that's great.
It's not just about people thinking about it, but the nonprofit is to actually create jobs in America as well. So.
Okay, so how does you following around Andrew Yang, so you were attracted to him first on substance, not on personality. I mean, there's plenty of people that like him on personality, and I think personality matters because, like, for example, in 2016, if you didn't like Hillary Clinton, you didn't feel comfortable with Donald Trump, I can see why, especially for somebody that's personality driven, why they would be attracted to like a Bernie Sanders or Jill Stein or whatever. I totally get that. But it's kind of cool that you actually weren't attracted to personality. You were attracted on substance.
Well,
first.
I thought I was going to be filling the burn this election, but it didn't happen. So.
Oh, it didn't happen. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I wonder why.
Well, no, but what was the?
Probably because I ran into Andrew Yang too quick. So.
Was there anything in particular that was like the one thing where it's like you're kind of on the side of Bernie, and then you're like, nah, that? Because I wonder, a lot of people who are Bernie supporters seem to come to Yang, so I'm just wondering.
What was the substance? What was the substantive argument that made you say, okay, I'm dedicating to Yang? Because, bro, you are dedicated, man.
Well, I like his capitalist stance on his policies. I feel like he actually understands business, and as an entrepreneur, and I've read all the business books, and I'm big into Robert Kiyosaki.
The Rich Man Poor Dad series.
Yeah, or
Rich Dad Poor Dad series.
Right.
Sorry.
And he always said, rich people don't pay taxes, but this is why. And it's like Bernie doesn't understand why. It's the system. It's not, he's like millionaires and billionaires. He's going after whatever, corporate
it's
people.
The millionaires and the
better.
Billionaires. 3 billionaires have the same net. Well, one of them also invented the computer, bro, which changed the world.
But like Andrew says, it's the system. It's not their fault. They're doing their job. They're getting zero taxes.
And I actually think that's a huge strength of Andrew Yang's because, for example, he does best, at least in my mind, because, I mean, you're talking to a guy who's held elected Republican office. All right. You know what I'm saying? You're talking to a guy who, my grandfather was sentenced to death by Fidel Castro. Okay. And my other grandpa was shot in Poland, in Czechoslovakia, and in Spain by the communists and the democratic socialists of those countries. So democratic socialism not on the plate for me. You know what I'm saying? Not on the plate for me. But
I see. I think you're way too hard on Bernie because I don't think he's like
I lived in New York.
Socialist.
I agree.
I think he wants.
No, he's a democratic socialist. Big difference.
Which means that he just wants some social programs to take care of people, not that he
some
wants
social programs.
Yeah.
Such as honestly, nationalizing our healthcare system.
I push Cardin on that all the time, dude. One day I want Cardin to take a test.
I think it should be like the library. If you want a crappy service,
if you like your library book and you can keep your library book, you should be able to keep your library book.
But if you want to buy a book and get it today, then you go buy a book and get it today. Why can't it be like our library system?
So that's true. I am very harsh on Bernie Sanders, but anyway, Xenon Light put my zeitgeist into words really well today on the Discord feed. If you haven't gotten on the Discord feed, make sure you check it out.
I haven't yet. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't have as big a problem with Bernie Sanders if it weren't for some serious sticking points. One of them is the minimum wage.
Okay.
I just know how it works.
I follow Robert Wright as well.
Robert Reich?
Yeah.
I follow the website. It's amazing how much Robert Reich doesn't know.com.
Okay. But so he kind of convinced me about the minimum wage, and then Andrew Yang convinced me
it's Reich,
back.
not Reich. It's the third Reich, Robert Reich. Isn't it?
I thought it was Reich, but
I've heard so many.
It's R-I-C.
I can't remember.
All right. But the point, you know who I'm talking about. The point is he convinced me that the minimum wage was a good idea, and then Andrew Yang convinced me back that it's a bad idea. But I think with the universal basic income, that's a better idea than minimum wage, and especially
it's a really good way of putting it.
Small business aspect, like like you've talked about, small businesses need a lower minimum wage to be able to function.
So if I put it into your words your thoughts into words correctly, you basically. The side that understands the fears of an entrepreneur was assuaged with Andrew Yang, while simultaneously attracted to the other good ideas, correct?
Yes.
Because that's basically what I say, dude, I talk to conservatives all the time, and we're talking people I knocked doors with on, you know, different measures out here and fought taxes with. And I tell them all the time, I say, dude, you know, I'm loving this UBI. It's actually a Milton Friedman idea. They're like, wait, what? Huh? You know, and it blows their minds. And I'll say, yeah, dude, Richard Nixon freaking passed it. This isn't a pipe dream. We
Right.
straight up passed the family assistance plan. And they look it up and the math all checks out. It's pretty amazing. And for me, what I found is that the reason why Andrew Yang is so accessible to so many people and why the YangGang is so cool and why it's so fun and actually unifying. I actually like that I hang out with a lot of Bernie people. I tried too much. But I like that from so many diverse backgrounds and from so many different places and political viewpoints, people think Andrew Yang's ideas are good and this dichotomy is overcome. You know what I'm saying? And he also assuages some of these biggest fears. Because, like, for example, I'm a huge environmentalist, but I cannot stand that we don't develop nuclear energy. And while you have Bernie Sanders trying to dismantle them all, you know what I'm saying? And it's not just him. There's this kind of groupthink that has been on the left forever since the 60s and the science fiction movies that vilified nuclear energy, that, you know, nuclear energy is the same as like dropping bombs somewhere, you know, and it's completely different. And if we would literally put just $1 trillion into developing nuclear energy, we would solve our electrical grid crisis.
So that's I have 2 interviews with Andrew Yang so far on my channel. That's
Rock
it.
on.
Besides South Carolina, he just addressed the camera. But so my one good interview with Andrew Yang is talking about nuclear energy and energy. And so I was just in Alaska talking about, that was a main topic. I did a news radio show with a guy, and that was one of the big questions they had too. But so I'm telling people about thorium nuclear energy, which is basically a green nuclear energy that's better and safer than the regular UB, whatever the
enriched uranium.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
not plutonium. Sorry, enriched uranium. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And so that I talked to Andrew about that, and he kind of lit up like like I was mentioning something most people don't even talk about, and he was like, yes, he agreed that it was something that we should invest in. So he's all in on that too. So I was excited about him being
cool,
forward thinking about thorium nuclear energy. So.
Rock on. So I guess before we wrap here, is there anything else? First off, how can people follow you? You know what I'm saying? And then any last thoughts, man? Like, any last thoughts?
I just want to talk about how jealous I am of your show. The studio is pretty awesome. And I've been...
See, it was worth it, Cody.
Yes.
All those late nights hanging out with Cardin and his conspiracy theories is worth it.
No, I mean, no, I'm glad to be with you guys. But no, I was just telling a friend of mine that I'm traveling all over the United States following Andrew Yang. I just broke like 1,000 subscribers, so definitely subscribe at American Jobs Factory on YouTube. And so I'm spending all this money traveling around. I could have just invested in a studio and stayed put and grew faster because you guys are awesome.
Yeah, but you have the real life experience, man. And I got to tell you.
Yes, it's better.
You're jealous of us. Trust me, we're jealous of you because there's plenty of times we're just like, we're stuck in this dang studio. Can we just like drive down to X, Y, or Z place, you know? So
right.
Anyway, everything's got its pros and cons. So people can follow you on YouTube at American Jobs Factory. You got any Twitter, Instagram, anything like that?
I got it all. On Twitter, I'm USA Jobs Factory. On Instagram, American Jobs Factory. And, I don't like Facebook, so I try not to use Facebook too much. But, all the other ones I'm on.
All right, awesome. So check this out. Who knows, if we can, maybe we'll premiere this on YouTube or whatever, and he can probably participate in the chat. But if you guys ever see him in our chat or in the Discord feed, this is Daniel from American Jobs Factory. Yes, make sure you say hi. If you guys want to contribute to the channel, check out the PayPal link in the description. If you guys haven't liked the video yet, please press the like button, smash the subscribe button, the whole 9 yards. This is Problem Solver Politics.